Egyptian Heaven and Hell by E.A. Wallis Budge. Volume 3 is the contents of the books of the other world described and compared. Chapter 10, the sixth division of the Tuat. 1. Kingdom of Yasir, according to the book Yim Tuat, Osiris. This division of our hour is the first of 4 which are devoted to the kingdom of Yasir. Its name, Matajat Mu Nabat Tuat. Its gate is called Septemtu, and the hour demoness is Mus Prit Yurat Maatu. Here we can see at once that the entity Yafu-Ra has re-entered his boat and that he has discarded the serpent boat in which he traveled through the land of Skur. The boat advances by means of paddling and not by towing. The greater part of the road of Yafu-Ra in this division is occupied by a very long building or series of houses or chambers set close together, which contains the forms of Yasir. Here, we see at once that the entity Yafu-Ra has re-entered his boat, and that he has discarded the serpent boat in which he has traveled through the land of Skur. The boat advances by means of paddling and not by towing. The greater part of the road of Yafu-Ra in this division is occupied by a very long building or series of houses or chambers set close together, which contains the forms of Yasir. Here are 4 representatives of each of the 4 classes of beings, viz. The Suteniu are kings of Upper Egypt. The Bietiu are kings of Lower Egypt. The Hatatiu are those who have been abundantly supplied with offerings. And the Klu are spirits of the beatified dead. Thus, it seems that the first mansion of the house of Yasir contains royal folk, the rich and the superlatively good. Volume 1, page 117 through 120. So the difference between the greater aspect of ourself, the higher, the spirit, and that of the light beings is basically the X sound at the end of the term light being, and determinatives of light, and well, I guess that could be with that type of soul too. The showering light down from the 3, and the sun, the sun disk / symbol that kind of showers the light down from the 3, but you have the sun disk, that X. But then, as Yafu-Ra passes thereby, salutes them and wishes them an abundant supply of offerings, and entreats them to hack Apep into pieces for him. Immediately beyond these, we see representations of the transformation of Yafu-Ra into the living sun entity. Here is the 5-headed serpent, Asht Haryu, and on his back lies the dead sun entity. With his right hand, which is raised above his head, he is drawing to himself the beetle of Xpre, which is the type of regeneration, or new birth or resurrection. So, the kind of a backwards arm sort of version of the It reminds you of the earth, or the morning gestures. That's done with the left, isn't it? Step forward, kind of head down. But earth, you're kind of, stepping forward with the right, and you're kind of crawling. So what does that mean? What does it mean beyond what it means? This is the equivalent of the scene in the book Tuat, where the beetle descends from the vault of night and, joining itself to the boat of Yifu-Ra, revivifies the dead sun entity. See Volume 1, page 103. That the revivification of Yifu-Ra should take place at the end of the 6th division is quite correct, for at this point the entity arrives at the most northerly limit of his course. He has traveled due north from Thebes and Abydos and has occupied... Okay, he doesn't occupy Mehen yet, does he? 6 hours in performing the journey. He must now alter his course and travel towards the east so that he may appear at Baba Chu Oper, i.e. the mountain of sunrise. The path, oh wait, I think that's just a determinant. So, Cha Uper, okay. The mountain at sunrise. The path over which he now journeys is called the secret path of Yimantut. And he knoweth it, and the names of those who are on it, and their forms shall partake in the offerings made to the entities of Yusur, and receive the gifts which his relatives but shall make upon earth. But do. Okay. I forgot the plural. Budge, well, laid forth something for us to go over and use, isn't it? On the right of Yifu-Ra are a company of entities, a company of demons and demonesses, and a group of scepters surmounted by crowns and Urai, and provide, the Urai, the serpent from the middle of the forehead thing, and provided with knives. These are the beings who hold and cultivate the territory, and this division are our. Administer to the wants of the followers of Yusur. Beyond this we have a lion. The 2 eyes of Haru, Horus. 3 things that are worshipped, and 3 small sepulchres, into each of which, through an opening under the roof, a serpent is belching fire. See Volume 1, page 124 through 130. In each sepulchre is an image of Ra, i.e. a human head, a hawk's wing, and a hindquarter of a lion, and these appear to be symbols under which the entity was worshipped in and around Yenu, or Heliopolis. On the left of Yifu-Ra are 8 entities and 8 demons and 4 demonesses, whose duty it is to accompany his boat and to escort the souls and shadows of men through the division and to provide the spirits with food and water. Next is the monster serpent Amku, i.e. the eater of spirits, whose duty it is to devour the shadows of the dead and eat up the spirits of the foes of Ra. From his back spring the heads of the 4 children of Haru, and they come into being when they hear the voice of Yifu-Ra. Remember what I showed about the second facsimile there of the so-called Book of Abraham, the 4 children of there. and they come into being when they hear the voice of Yafu Ra, our voice. Beyond these are 4 Osiris forms, which stand. Oh, I guess they were now I forget which one that it was. Because he had the forms setting up the 4 suns. Which stand though they are seated, and move though they are motionless, and 9 serpents armed with knives, which represent the ancient entities Ta, Thanun, Tamu, Kspre, Shu, Sab, Yasur, Haru, Yapu, and Hatep-Uwe. These entities had faces of fire and lived in the water of Thathanan, and they only came to life by virtue of the words of power of Yafu Ra, which is now to be regarded as Kspre. And these are the 9 gatekeepers, the 9 demonic gatekeepers, because we're talking jinn here, and shayateen minal jinn, obviously. So, what is the note here that I missed? Something from page 66. Oh, think about the relatives. So you might want to turn back to what I said earlier in this volume. The 7th division of the Tuat. 7th division? Why do we keep dividing like that? The kingdom of Yasur, according to the book Yum Tuat. The name of this division or hour is Thip Hut Shattat. The name of the gate is Rate Yasur, and the demoness of the hour is Kaftas Hu Hasak Naha Hre. On looking at the secret path of Yumentet, wherein Yafu Ra is still traveling, we note that the face of this entity is turned in another direction, and that the crew is increased by Ast and by Sur, whose name has been read Samsu, and that the canopy under which Yafu Ra stands is formed of the body of the serpent in the form of an entity, Yafu Yasur, and seated on a throne. See Volume 1, page 149. In front of it are a number of the enemies of Yasur. Some are decapitated by the Lynx demoness, and some in fetters which are held in the hands of the entity Yinku. And we find that in Volume 1, page 149, 150. Okay, shared the rest of the book before that. Well, I didn't read out the table of contents, that sort of thing. Beyond these are 3 living souls, representations of the blessed dead in this region, and the flesh of Tem, Yafutem, and the form of an entity seated on the back of a huge serpent resembling Mehen. Volume 1, page 151. Well, there could be different Mehens, couldn't there be? Uh-oh. I accidentally skipped, so, okay. Did I skip? I think I did. So if I didn't, correct me. Isis and Sur, so we're seeing a guy walking with a stick, and then the seated figure representing divinity. So formed the body of the serpent of Mehen, page. Okay, I'll reread the whole sentence. Okay. Read Semsu, and that the canopy under Yafu Ra stands as formed of the body of the serpent Mehen, Volume 1, page 140. There is good reason for these changes, for the entity has now to traverse a region where there is not sufficient water to float his boat or to permit it being towed. Moreover, the way is blocked by a monster serpent called Naha Hre, which lies on a sandbank 450 cubits long, and the summary also mentions this. In other words, the boat of Yafu Ra has arrived at a region of sandbanks and shallows where serpents and crocodiles live, but the words of power of Ast, didn't I say that's the name of Isis, the great sorceress, and of Sar, and of the entity himself, protect him from mishap. And eventually he passes through the division by taking upon himself the form of the serpent Mahan, in which he glides onwards. The region of the Tuat where the serpent Apep or Nahahore lives is called Gra'u, and it's 440 cubits long, 440 cubits wide. His head and tail are caught in fetters by Srpat and Har Basuf, respectively, and these entities have transfixed him to the ground with 6 huge knives. Volume 1, page 142 mentions likewise. When the body of the serpent has been removed, Yafu-Ra advances, and passing 4 demonesses, each armed with a knife, arrives at 4 rectangular buildings. Inside each building, Volume 1, page 144, is a mound of sound, and at each end of the building is the head of a man. These buildings are the tombs wherein the 4 chief forms of the sun entity have been buried, the first containing the form of Tum, the second the form of Xpre, the third the form of Ra, and the fourth the form of Yisir, and the heads which appear at the ends of the tombs are those of the enemies who were slain at the tombs, who were buried in the foundations in order to drive away evil spirits. The texts which refer to these scenes state that the 4 demonesses join in slaying Apep, that the human heads appear as soon as one comes to the tombs, and that as soon as they have heard the voice of Yafu-Ra and has gone by, they eat their own forms, i.e. they disappear until Ra again comes. See Volume 1, page 145. On the right of the boat of Yafu-Ra and facing it are Haru and 12 entities of the hours who protect the tombs of Yasir and assist Ra in his journey. Volume 1, page 154 through 156. Next comes the 12 demonesses of the hours, who face in the opposite direction and are entreated to guide the entity who is on the horizon to the beautiful human Tuat in peace. Beyond these is the great crocodile called Abshe Yim Duat, which is stretched out at full length of the tomb of Yasir. As the boat of Yafu-Ra passes by it, the entity addresses words to Yasir, who, for a season, puts forth his head, which disappears as soon as the boat has entered into the next division. Remember, those who have lost, those who are just on the realm of consumption and, release, I guess, and violence, I guess. And then there's, the desire. And then there's, lust specifically. And then there's reputation. When you go beyond these for themselves, then the crocodile doesn't bite you off and leave you, Or if you use these for devotion, then you're kind of succeeded, and then you can go to the other 4 spheres when you see that thing. You got the 3, the 4 above, the crocodile biting, and, puts forth its head, but disappears as soon as the boat has entered the next division. On the left of Yafu-Ra, we have also a number of demons and demonesses who belong to this division, and among them may be specially noticed that the serpent Mahan, the so-called lord of this region, his body is bent in the form of a canopy, and beneath is the flesh of Yasir. In the form of an entity, Yafu Yasir, seated on a throne, see Volume 1, page 149. In front of it are a number of the enemies of Yasir. Some are decapitated by the lynx, demoness, and some in fetters, which are held in the hands of Yinku. See Volume 1, page 149 and 150. Beyond these are 3 living souls, representations of the blessed dead in this region, and the flesh of Tem, Yafu Tem, in the form of an entity sitting on the back of a huge serpent resembling Mahan. See Volume 1, page 151. The 8th division the kingdom of Yisr according to the book Tuat. The name of this division, or our city, is Dibut Natrus. Its gate is called Aha Yin Rutnef, and its hour demoness is Nibut Bashau. The boat of Yifu-Ra now enters one of the most holy places of the kingdom of Yisr, for it abide the four forms of Ta-Janan. Looking at the boat, volume 1, page 164, we see that Ost and Sar are no longer in it, a fact which indicates that the dangers incidental to passing through this division are not great, as it is towed by a company of entities. Immediately in front of them are 9 Shamsu, or followers, i.e. servants of Yusir. Well, implied. The principle carries on to others, doesn't it? Each with an object before him, see volume 1, page 167, which indicates that he is a properly bandaged mummy, and leading these are 4 rams, each wearing a different kind of crown, which represent the 4 forms of Tathanan. I'm not quite sure how that's pronounced, actually, because I'm not seeing hieroglyphs with some of these things. So see volume 1, page 168, 169. The heads which are attached to the symbols of the followers only appear when they hear the voice of Yifu-Ra, and when he has passed by them, they disappear. The huge knives which they have are used in slaughtering any of the enemies of Ra who may succeed in entering the city. On the right and left of the path of Yifu-Ra are a number of circles in which dwell the entities who have been mummified, and for whom all the prescribed rites and ceremonies have been performed. The greater number of these entities are not well known, and their exact functions are not well understood. The circles on the right are Hatunbus, Hatum, Takmeu, Hap Semus, Sahart Baeus, At, Setkau. The door, Dus, Amem Mit Mashat. So 6 of them there. As Yifu-Ra passes these entities, their doors fly open. Those within hear what he says, and they respond with cries which are likened to those of male cats, or the noise of the confused murmur of the living, or the sound of those who go down to the battlefield of Nu, or the sounds of those who cry of the divine hawk, or of Hru, or the twittering of the birds in a nest of waterfowl. The circles on the left are Seshta, Tuat, Yasnutru, Yakabi, Nebutsemu, Nefu. The door is Dis Kaibitu, Duateu. The sounds made by the entities resemble those of the hum of many bees, and the sound of the swathed ones, the sound of men who lament, the sounds of bulls and other male animals, and the sounds of those who make supplications through terror. Volume 1, page 170. So, on my New Age Religion playlist, we have the sound of bees would be the etheric plane, and anyway, so there's sort of a division by sound. The 9th division of the Tuat, the kingdom of Yusir, according to the book Yim Tuat. The name of the division of the hour of the city is Best Yuru Ankthit Kthbru. The gate is called Sasa Pub, and its hour demoness is Tuat Ma'akatat Nabus. The boat of Yifu-Ra now enters the last 4 divisions of the kingdom of Yasir and moves without the aid of towing. Immediately in front of it are 12 sailor entities, each grasping a short paddle with both hands. They appear to have been depicted in front of the boat because there was no room for them in it. I don't know necessarily about that. But, the entity is still under the form of Mahan, the bubble serpent, and it is still passing over the secret path of Yementet. And his sailors sing to him, as they do scattered with water from the stream in their paddles, and the spirits who dwell in this city, see Volume 1, page 189 through 191. In front of these are 3 entities seating on baskets, and the entity Hatep Natru Tuat. They accompany the boat of Yifu-Ra, and it is their duty to provide food or offerings of the entities who are in the division. On the right of the path of the entity are 12 Raya, who lighten the darkness by means of the fire which they pour out from their mouths. They rest upon the objects which suggest that they have received their places in the division because of all the funeral rites and ceremonies who are duly performed for them. See Volume 1, page 207. 201. In front of these are 9 entities who represent the field laborers and the Tuat. See Volume 1, 204, 205. And each holds a heavy stick similar to that which the peasants in Egypt have always carried to protect themselves. Their ganger is Haru Heter Shet Tuat, i.e. he who is over the lakes or sands in the Tuat.